Hi guys, today I just wanted to share like my current foundation routine with you. I'm going to be filming a lot of tutorials for this channel and I wanted to keep them short and easy for you guys. So I figured I would do like a reference video because I'm a stickler for habit. If I find something, a way of doing something that I like and it's predictable and same results every time, I'll do that. So this is my current foundation routine. In the future, when I'm using different products, because obviously I will run out of that foundation at some point, or I will run out of those concealers at some point, when enough has changed, I will do an updated version of this in the future. But for the moment, I will link this video under all of my tutorials, unless I happen to be using a specific tutorial, a specific foundation for that tutorial, I should say. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some good information out of it. And if you have any other questions, base related, let me know in the comments below. I will be having a series on my channel about makeup for beginners. So I will be covering topics like picking your foundation and other methods of applying your foundation. So those videos will be coming in the future if that's what you're interested in. But anything else that you have questions about, feel free to ask away. So I hope you enjoy the video. So I've already got my skincare on. I will probably do a skincare video soon, but I'm just going to start off with my primer. I'm using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and I just take a pump on the back of my hand and using a damp beauty sponge. These are the sponges I prefer to use on myself and on customers. You will see the ones that I use on screen look used because I reuse my own. Obviously when I'm using on a client, I use brand new sponges every time. But I just wanted to clarify that from the get-go. So I'm just going to use the sponge to smooth this all over my face. If anyone are people who are watching these videos who are budding makeup artists, I will be doing a sort of makeup artistry series in the coming months about do's and don'ts with clients, with your kit, with your equipment, how to care for everything, you know, personal hygiene, that kind of thing. And I've also got a basic makeup just for people who are watching this to learn how to do makeup. So I'm excited to get those series filmed. I know this is supposed to just be a video about doing my makeup routine. But you know, it's a video I'm going to be referring back to a lot, so I might as well feed in as much information as possible, right? And the reason I do the foundation application with a sponge is, firstly, it doesn't make my fingers messy, which means my products don't get messy. I don't have to wipe my hands in between steps. It also stops finger oils getting on the skin, which can lead to breakdown of makeup, and I feel like it gives a smooth application of the product, gives you more control. Next I'm going to go in with a bit of concealer. I always like to make sure I've got my under eyes sort of colour corrected and a little bit brightened before I go in with eye makeup. So I'm actually just using the Smashbox High Definition Concealer. On myself, I just take it straight from the tube because this is my own personal concealer. Obviously for a client you would pop this on a palette and then apply, or the back of your hand, whichever you are using. And again, I'm just going to go in with my sponge and blend that out, and it just helps cancel out any blueness. Apologies for the cat noise. I have one cat that likes to yell a lot. It's quite irritating. I do apologise. So that just cancels out the bulk of the blueness. Obviously, you would get a better effect if you actually use the proper color corrector. Next I'm just going to go in with some brightening. This is the Touche Magique from L'Oreal in the shade Rose Beige. I forgot to tell you. I use the shade Fair in the Smashbox. I'm just going to go in with the Touche Magique I'll pop this on underneath. I know this could seem a bit counterintuitive, or silly to some people to conceal under the eyes before you go in with foundation, but I don't like to bring foundation up under the eyes, as you'll see. So I think if you bring foundation up under the eyes and then you go in with concealers and color correctors, it just is too much product for under the eyes, and it begins to look very crepey and cakey very quickly, especially on anyone over the age of 20, I suppose, depending on how good your skincare is. And that's not what we want, is to accentuate people's under eye bags and under eye lines. And again, I'm just bringing that up in the inner corner as well, just using the same sponge. I'm a very big sponge user. And when I do my own makeup, I like a long wearing luminous finish. And it's not very, it's becoming easier to find that kind of foundation, but I always tend to make my own. I take a long wearing full coverage foundation and then I mix in some kind of illuminating product. At the moment I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light Foundation and the Revolution Liquid Highlighter Drops in the shade Liquid Star. And I take about a blob that size, about the size of a large pea, I suppose, or a bean. And then I just take like 2 drops of the illuminator, because this is like highly concentrated shimmer, highly concentrated illumination. You can use this product as a base under makeup, you can use it as an over foundation highlighter. It can get very metallic-y very quickly that way. So I like to mix it in with my foundation. On myself, I do the portioning out. You may want to go in and apply it with sponge. I will warn you that if you do it that way, like dab in with the sponge and then apply, you will lose a good deal of your product to the sponge. But it just depends on how comfortable you are and what works best for your application. I know my own face, I know what sort of application I'm looking for. And to start with, I like to make sure I have a foundation everywhere I want it to be. So I use smooth strokes. And you'll notice that I don't take my foundation right up under the eye. I take it up on the side of the nose and a little bit up around the outside here. And just sort of blend it in with the edge of the concealer. And always make sure that you bring your foundation down your neck just a bit, because you don't want foundation marks, you don't want tide marks. We don't want to look like we're going to a first year disco in 1999, do we? It's always what pops up to mind. That was the first time I ever applied foundation, was the first year disco. It wasn't 1999, it was 2001. But still. Oh, I will have to do a video on my makeup history journey. I'm sure you guys will get a kick out of it. So this is how I would wear my foundation almost every day. It does look a bit light on camera, but we are talking in real life makeup. I'm going over with a little bit extra of just neat foundation, just in the areas where I need it. I need a little extra coverage. Areas like my nose, that kind of thing. I do have a bit of redness, but not enough to concern me. Obviously, if you do have redness that is an issue for you, you could use a colour correcting primer before the foundation. I don't tend to use colour correcting primers until more in the summer when I do get more redness. And obviously make sure you've blended your foundation into your ears as well. Especially if you're the type of person who has like a tanned body and hasn't tanned your face. That's going to be a dead giveaway. You need to make sure everything matches. And so everything, I'm using the translucent Perfect Light Loose powder from number 7. And what I tend to do is I dip my brush into the powder and work it into the bristles. And then tap off the excess. And that is, in my opinion, the perfect amount of powder for setting my face. So I start down at the bottom here, set my neck and jawline, and then I go work my way up, go around my mouth, areas that I touch my face the most, a little bit under the jawline, and where I'm a glasses wearer, so I do set a little bit on my nose. And then I'm going to do a little bit in the temples, not too much, and then just sweep away the excess. As you sweep in the way the excess, a little bit will cling to areas you haven't purposefully set, like my highlighty areas. I like to leave as little powder off of those as possible. Well, apply as little powder on those as possible, I should say. Because the more it glows already, the less highlighting powder you need to use. And preferably clip your hair back a bit firmer. So that's it for my foundation routine. I'm just going to round off this video by showing you my sort of go-to face colour makeup. I'm going in with a highlight from Becca. This is in Opal. And I just pop this on my cheeks and blend up into my temples and down. I'm just popping this in so that if ever this kind of, like I say, it's my go-to. If there's going to be colour on my face and I haven't shown it in a video, and I'm just going to take a bit of powder on the bridge of my nose and on my cupid's bow. So if there's ever a video where I've done like blush, bronzer, highlight, I will refer back to this video so you can see what it is if I haven't already done it in the video, because chances are it's most likely these products. Next I'm going to go in with some bronzer. The bronzer that I'm currently using is the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Bali Sands. And I'm a huge fan of applying bronzer with powder brushes, big fluffy powder brushes. If you're using a bronzer to contour with, then you might want something more precise, but I like my bronzer to be a lot more diffused. And I'm just going to take a bit onto my jawline as well. I will do a video dedicated to blush, bronzer and highlight. Just kind of slapping this on. Because bronzer is kind of a personal thing. Some people like a little bit, some people like a lot, some people like to bronze this bit, some people like to bronze across the top, some people like to use their bronzer all over their face. It's very much up to the individual. And for blush, I'm using Sensuous Rose from Estee Lauder. It's a firm, long-time favourite of mine. And I'm taking on my favourite brush ever. This is the Morphe 403. I've been using this brush for about, I'd say 4 years now. It is my go-to blush brush. I have 3 of them at the moment. I'm currently saving up to get new brushes, and when I do, I'm going to be getting more of this guy. Maybe 2, 3 more, because they come in so handy. They're just the perfect size. They're not too big, they're not too small, they're not angled in any way. They're sort of like a, it's like an oval plume with the curvature, like beveled, would that be the right word maybe? But it's like rounded, plus it's oval, and it just fits perfectly into the contour of your cheek. So if you wanted to do a gradient blush, it's perfect. If you want to do a pop blush, it's perfect. If you wanted to use this brush maybe for some contouring on a larger face, it would be awesome. I could go gushing on about brushes. I will do in a future video. Oh well. So I'm just going back in with my powder brush just to blend everything in. And this would be the point where if you wanted to, you could go in with a setting spray or one of those shimmering sort of mist sprays. I'm using my viewfinder as a mirror now. Oh. Just a quick check in the mirror, make sure it's as it should be. And this is also kind of like my go-to face for clients as well. I like this sort of glowy, sort of spring blossom look, and it just makes everyone look fresh and healthy, and it goes with almost any makeup look that you wanted to do. It's day appropriate, it's night appropriate, it's perfect for weddings. Make sure you ain't got any hairs kicking about the place. So that is my sort of go-to face routine, my current foundation routine, plus my go-to face color product. So if this video has been linked underneath a tutorial where you haven't seen the face makeup, this is what is on my face. And I will leave everything listed and linked in the info box if you want to check it out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.